Hey everyone! So if you're aiming for engineering and have your sights set on the MHT CET in 2026, you've come to the right place. There are some pretty big updates to the PCM exam, and we're going to break down everything you need to know right now.
Okay, let's just dive right into it. The rulebook for the MHT CET 2026 exam has basically been rewritten. We're talking about some major changes that are going to directly impact your prep and, of course, your final rank. And the single biggest change? Well, here it is. You now get 2 chances. That's right, the exam is going to be held in 2 separate sessions, and that completely changes the game for every single person taking this test.
So, a dual session format. What does that actually mean for you day-to-day in your preparation? Let's break it down.
This new system is a lot like the JEE mains pattern, which you might already be familiar with. You get 2 attempts, and the best of your 2 scores is what counts for your final merit list. This is a huge advantage, you know? It gives you a real chance to improve, and it acts like a safety net if one of your exam days doesn't go quite as planned.
All right, with 2 sessions on the table, the timeline is more important than ever. Let's walk through the key dates you absolutely need to circle on your calendar.
Okay, so you're going to want to make a note of this. Registration is expected to open up in the very last week of December 2025. Session 1, your first shot, is scheduled for April 11th to the 19th, 2026. Then you get a little bit of a gap to regroup before Session 2, which runs from May 14th to the 17th. And just remember, your admit card will be out about a week before each session kicks off.
The whole registration process is online. The one and only place you need to go is the official website, cetcell.mahacet.org. One more thing to keep in mind. The registration fees for 2026 have been revised, so make sure you check the latest fee structure when that portal goes live.
So you've got the dates, you know how to register, but what are you actually aiming for? Well, the way your final rank is calculated has also seen a pretty significant change. Let's get into this new 50-50 merit rule.
So here's the deal, and this is super important. Your MHT CET score isn't the only thing that matters anymore. With this new 50-50 weightage rule, your final merit is going to depend equally on 2 things. Your MHT CET percentile, that's your score relative to everyone else, and your Class 12 board marks. It's really as simple as it looks. 50% of your final merit comes from how you do in the CET, and the other 50% comes directly from your board results. This means your board exam prep is now just as critical as your entrance exam prep. The strategy isn't just about crushing the CET anymore, it's about being consistent and performing well in both. Think of them as 2 halves of the same whole.
Okay, so now that we know how you're going to be ranked, let's take a closer look and decode the structure of the test itself.
The exam is still a computer-based test. Now, for you PCM students, it's split into 2 papers. Paper I is all mathematics, where every correct answer gets you 2 marks. Then you've got Paper 2, which combines physics and chemistry, and each of those questions is worth 1 mark. That marking difference is really key for your time management strategy.
Here's another really critical piece of info for your study plan. The exam leans heavily, and I mean heavily, on your Class 12 syllabus. That makes up a massive 80% of the questions. The other 20% will come from your standard 11 curriculum, so you gotta focus your energy accordingly, right?
And now for some really good news, something that should be a bit of a relief for everyone. There is absolutely no negative marking in the MHCET. So what does that mean? It means you should attempt every single question. There is 0 penalty for a wrong answer.
Okay, so we've covered the what. Now it's time for the how. Let's talk strategy and figure out how you can actually use all these changes to your advantage.
First things first, let's set the right expectation here. The difficulty level of the MHT CET is widely considered to be on par with the JEE mains. That right there tells you the level of conceptual clarity and problem-solving skill you need to be aiming for. You can't underestimate it.
So, how do you prep for that level of difficulty? Well, the 2 most common strategies are, 1, to religiously solve previous year's question papers to really get a feel for the pattern, and 2, to focus like a laser on building both your speed and your accuracy. It's a race against the clock, and literally every second is going to count.
I want you to think about this new 2-session format in a very specific way. It's like this. The first session is like having a dress rehearsal before the opening night of a play. It is your chance to face the real exam pressure, figure out where your weak spots are, and really perfect your performance for that second, final attempt.
And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with.
This new structure gives you an opportunity that students before you just didn't have. So the real question isn't just if you'll prepare, but how you'll strategize. With 2 attempts on the table, how are you going to use that first one to truly master the second?